Maybe switch it over to the boys' side just for a couple minutes here.
Oh my goodness.
Just for a couple minutes. We got a little time left.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, no.
Thanks.
Well, congratulations on the state championship. Oh, that's pretty exciting. And I don't follow a lot of the boys, so you're going to be educating me right now. Talk about, while I take a little break, talk about your the road to the state championship last year.
Well, the interesting thing about last year was it was a culmination of a group of kids that had started as a group of sophomores, and they kind of came in, they transferred in, and it was tough in trying to identify the style of play that we play. And with them figuring out that style of play, the next thing was to get them to execute. And in that process last year was really the culmination of figuring out how to execute our style of play, our system. We try to get the ball up and down the court. We've been fortunate enough to be able to average about 85, 88 points a game. This year we're right around 87 points a game. So, we're pretty satisfied with the way we try to get things done. But, last year was an incredible run. When you talk about, our school being the second inner city school to be able to accomplish this and to be able to get ourselves and get our kids focused and not selfish, but focused around a team goal was a really good thing for us.
Yeah, I'm sure that goal transcended as you progressed through the tournament, gained some experience, got to the state, and then it's like at that point in time, it's like, okay, who's going to get the breaks? Who's going to stay injury free? Like we talked on the show already tonight. You got to hit the big shots, you got to make the big stops, and your boys stepped up and did that.
Right. Well, the interesting thing is, anytime you're talking about playing championship basketball, there's three things that got to happen. You got to get stops, you got to make layups, you got to make free throws. And outside of that, there are some other things. You got to catch a break and get the ball to bounce your way. But sometimes, like we always say, you make your own breaks as well. And with our ability to extend the floor and cause a multitude of turnovers for the other team, we sometimes get a little more opportunity, a little more chances than some teams get.
From watching your guys' practice, hearing you talk about a game that you personally lost in a championship game, I believe. Tell us a little bit about that.
That was interesting. That was the game. One of them was, there was a couple different situations. I know what you're talking about. One, in high school, this kind of molded me and shaped me. I'll never forget, we were playing Moeller. I went to Princeton High School. We were playing Moeller, and I had a chance. I was having a really good game. I ended up the game with 28 points, but I was having a great game. And the coach, I was going to be next. I was going to be a decoy, and I had to set a screen. But because I was selfish, didn't set the screen. I slipped the screen, tried to get open, got a 5-second count, turned the ball over, we ended up losing the game. So, from there, I try to tell my kids, being coachable and doing the right thing sometimes means that you have to sacrifice. And the other situation that you're talking about, being in college, with me being a college football player and having the success that I had at Eastern Kentucky, there's a lot of things that we've had to go through getting to that point. And getting to that point, you got some ups and some downs. And the interesting, we always say that we're the one that started Jim Tressel's run. Because Jim Tressel was the coach at Youngstown. And we were number one in the country. We were up 28-3. We ended up losing the game 34-31. And we only touched the ball 3 times in the second half. And it was all about defense, them getting stops, them continuing to compete as a team. But the other thing is on the flip side of that, when you talk about that last game being your senior year, it kind of leaves you empty. Because, with all the opportunities that you had in the past, you getting those chances and dropping the ball and things not working out, there's a way that you can kind of bounce back from that. And fortunately, in my career and in my life, I've been able to bounce back from that. But the opportunity to be able to compete for championships and play for championships have been very, very good for us, at least for myself.
Now let's transition over to the girls' game. Having 2 daughters that are both playing, first of all, as a coach, I'm sure you sit there and you break the game down.
Yeah.
I'm sure, the game doesn't end when the buzzer goes off. And I'm telling you, it happens a lot, okay? Especially people that know the game That's that's a given. Okay, so talk about first of all, let's talk about watching your daughters play.
Yeah.
As a dad, as a coach, sometimes you have to separate them. I'm sure. So talk about the enjoyment of watching your daughters. One of them is at a very high level. One of them is getting to the higher level. Chelsea's game's improved a lot. So talk about those two. Getting watching.
Watching your kids play is a great thing. I mean, me being a coach and especially a boys coach, had I not had my sons, my twin boys, not came to Taft, I would have never gotten a chance to see them play. So anytime I get a chance to watch my kids play, I'm in heaven. Like last week, I seen all 4 of my kids play. One transferred, he's at Cincinnati Christian. Cam is at Walsh. Drove up to Cedarville to see him, and then I got a chance to see my daughters play. So that was a great day for me. But being able to watch your kid play the game is enjoyable. But what you always got to remember, and my wife always gets on me about this, is that, don't say this, don't say that, but I'm a coach. So anything that happens, anytime that things that happen, or I say I could be watching a game on TV, and if something happens, I'm on
instinctive, right? Yeah.
Very instinctive. So, but the good thing is the coaching in me has allowed me to be able to separate the two and separate all 4 of my kids from the standpoint of realizing that they all do some things very, very well. And Chelsea is obviously a different type of a player than Kelsey. Kelsey's a little more dynamic with the basketball, but that's because her biggest influence obviously is her brothers, getting up and down the floor playing the game like that. While Chelsea was cheering, Kelsey was playing basketball. So, but Chelsea does a lot of the intangibles. She's what you would call a stat stuffer. At the end of the night, she's gonna have about 8 points, about 4 or 5 blocks, about 6 to 8 rebounds. She's gonna have about 3 or 4 assists. She's gonna get on the floor. She's gonna guard one of the tougher players. So, you learn to be able to accept that and see them as they play like that, and really, really respect them from that kind of aspect. So, being able to watch being able to watch Chelsea and Kelsey play, and being able to watch how diverse their style of play is, really kind of gives me a great love of what's going on. And like I said, for me coaching boys, a lot of times it's different for me to watch girls basketball. So I'm kind of glad my daughters kind of get it up and down a little bit. It kind of holds my interest a little bit. But from the girls' game, it's a good game. It's turned into a really good game. Skill sets are really, really high. And being able to watch your kids play and get it done at a high level is really, really enjoyable for my family.
What's it like having 2 sets of twins, a boy set of twins and a girl set of twins, and maybe like how your whole family is all involved in sports, and like maybe instead of having a family dinner, you're probably gonna go see something that involves sports.
Well, what it is, like they say, having something that anchors your family together keeps you together. And basketball, for our particular family, keeps us together. It allows us to be able to have a common ground, a common bond, to be able to have conversations about a lot of different topics. For instance, my wife, she was fortunate enough to play overseas in Italy, and I was fortunate enough to play, in the World League of American Football. So now, we're talking about how Jeremy Lin has become such a great influence to U.S. sports. Me having played overseas a little bit, my wife played overseas, we're able to talk to our kids about how the influence of U.S. sports are really, really big over in foreign countries. So, we kind of teach them from the aspect that, it's a global game. And, basketball at the end of the night is something that kind of keeps us together, kind of anchors us. We can all give us something to talk about, laugh about, and enjoy together as a family.
I mentioned something to Kelsey about this. I'm going to ask you the same question. September 1st gets here, and you send your post office, what do you call, delivery guy into retirement, because he's bringing these big bags of mail from every institution across the country. That is when it's probably going to hit home. You're going to be like, everybody wants my daughter, and Chelsea will get her letters. Everybody wants my daughters and your kids, but that's going to be a time when you're going to sit back and think, they've done me proud. They've worked on their game, and they're going to be at the next level. And of course, you're going to put 10,000 miles a month on your car going to watch everybody play.
That's right.
But the old saying goes, if you didn't If you didn't want to go travel to watch your kids play, you wouldn't have them, or they
Right.
wouldn't be play, they
That's
wouldn't
right.
have them play sports.
That's true.
And you're very blessed to have an opportunity to have, especially like I said, September 1st.
Yeah.
You're going to be needing people to help carry the mail up there, and that's going to be a big day for Kelsey.
It is, and it's funny because my wife is from Memphis, so when we travel back home, her box of mail, she has like 3 or 4 boxes of mail still, and she graduated in 1984, and my kids, they go over to my parents' house a lot, and they go into my closet, and in my closet I got about 10 boxes, big boxes of just letters that I got, and they look at it, and that was back in 1985, and they look at it and say, well, they still do this. So I got to tell them, I said, it's a process, and it's something that you're going to have to go through. It's funny because a lot of people, ask them for interviews, and a lot of people ask, and I tell them, I said, well, you got 1 or 2 options. If you weren't good, nobody would want to talk to you. So what you have to do is you got to go talk to people. You got to build relationships. You got to be able to deal with people, a wide variety of people. So this process right here is just the beginning. And, and then Steve Sanders really, really hit me to it, with some of the rules and stuff and how they vary and how they're different. And, he said, September 1 of their junior year, he said, you're going to be in trouble. He said, you're going to have to get another post office box. And I kind of laughed about it, but the more and more, the closer and closer we get to September 1, I kind of see what people are talking about. And it was funny because a couple weeks ago we were watching a basketball game, and Kelsey finally said, I get it. And I said, what are you talking about? She says, I kind of see what everybody's making a stink about me, kind of creating. She says, because when I look at women's basketball, you don't see a lot of girls being able to create for their team. And she says, I understand now. And I said, well, good. I said, so now you can either take that and continue to let that drive you, or you can kind of look at it and be upset about it, be mad about it, and not continue to work on your skills and fall into a certain mold of a player.